everyone, and we're live. Welcome. Today is Wednesday, August 14th. Cozy is back in the mainland. We've got Marty representing the golden country of Brazil. He won't let you say anything other than how amazing it is, paid by the Brazilian Tourist Association.
The tourism board.
And we've got Gal from Grix Finance with us today. Part of the vol cabal, I would say. He's been building in the option space for some time. I've had the pleasure of hopping on a few calls, spaces, and stuff with these guys. Welcome, Gal.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Why don't you kick us off with we don't like to do this too structured like an interview, but for our viewers and listeners, why don't you give them a brief intro of kind of who you are, what you're building, a little bit about Grix, and then we'll get into all of our other shenanigans.
Amazing. Yeah, so I'm Gal. My crypto history is actually I got in the space around to 2017. And it was I got in the last month of the rush. And then it just the market topped, and I just lost interest because I said, okay, this is all trading. I don't know how to do this stuff. I can't win. I don't want to do it anymore. And then I came back in 2020, and this time I went a bit deeper. DeFi summer, so that really attracted me. Basically building the space for my own strategies and automations and tools. And loved it. Just fell in love with it. Fell into the rabbit hole, as people say. And from that front, basically, I rolled from different strategies to use options as part of these, DeFi strategies, and that's how I got into the option space. And me and my partner is also one of the co-founders of Grix. We said, okay, we see a lot of place for innovation, specifically in DeFi options, and we said, okay, every other market basically, or every other derivative or spot has its aggregator, so let's do one for options. And once we said that we saw so much potential for the DeFi option space, and for aggregating and for giving a better experience to users. Trading or hedging, and really depends on what you want to do. But yeah, we saw that there's a lot of innovation to do, specifically here.
Nice. And I guess we could start off with, kind of went into why options, but why DeFi options? Why did you go build a sex exchange? Why did you go the aggregator route? And then I guess to add on or tag on to that is why didn't you just go out and build like a bot that arbs these different pricings, because the DeFi space is very wide in spreads?
Yeah, well, it's a really good question. Basically, I think it's because we started from DeFi, and we wanted to do automations that revolve around DeFi options, because it would be all in the same space, with same chain, same space, and you don't need to hold a lot of different legs, one on centralized exchanges and one on chain. But then we actually we just saw the potential after the FTX collapse. It was really certain for us that we, as traders, as users, we don't want to use centralized entities like this anymore. We're not so certain. I know it's not something you usually hear these days when the market is pretty bullish, and no one remembers the bad times. But we really said, okay, if it's not in your wallet, if it's not something you can see and you can check for yourself, it's not something you would really trust yourself with, trust others with, I mean. And that's basically how we approach this.
Yeah, people seem to forget the bad times really fast, especially in crypto. We have an attention span of an ant.
Goldfish brain syndrome.
Yeah, I got that for sure. FTX was what? Not even 2 years ago, right? So the biggest collapse, sent us into the crypto winter. That actually was the bottom, though, right? If you look, all of these major events end up being the bottom. So I think 15, 16K Bitcoin, that was the Pico bottom, and now you have people trying to chase and trying to, we're going to 100K. It's like, guys, you had 2 fucking years to buy anything, and you would be up, right? So you get that, goldfish brain syndrome for sure. I guess when it comes to your guys' product, you guys have just vanilla stuff, and then you guys also have like 24-hour.
Yes. So basically,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
yeah, but basically,
Dog in you. Got that dog.
and the loud one. Yeah, but basically, building in the space is pretty difficult. Contrary to like spot aggregators like 1inch, HouseSwap, Audos, whatever you guys use. When they need to integrate to a new protocol, the work is pretty straightforward because they're mostly like all the dexes are mostly forks using the same structure and architecture.
Yeah.
But when it comes to options, each protocol is different. You have like L2s, or like on the chain of their own. You got different architecture when it's on chain. You have different blockchains. So what our first step was to aggregate the data from as many protocols as we could to be able to offer users. That's what you can see right now on our app. You can actually quote vanilla option for, and also 24 hours, but mainly vanilla option for ETH and BTC, put calls, only on the buying side for now, but it's something that we still are building on. And you could actually compare prices between, I think it's already 7 or 8 protocols, like different protocols. And whenever you want to, it mainly, I guess, focused on people wanting to hedge right now. But if you know what options you want, you could just go there and see the best quote for what you're willing to pay. On
So
the next step would actually be.
Yeah, let's say I want to take this option, right? We're on Mobi or Lyra or Hedgic or whatever. We want to go buy the option. You send us to the front end, or you do it all
now,
in your app?
Yeah, so right now, it's going to send you to their front end. But that's exactly the milestone we're trying to accomplish now. And basically being able to route the transaction straight from our interface to buy on different protocols. The same experience you would have in any other, And the step after that is actually being able to split transactions to minimize price impact. So if you do want to buy like a bigger chunks, so we would want to split it because basically, option is like a contract between you and the protocol, but it should act the same. So it really doesn't need to affect you what protocol you're getting it from. And we were going to go into more filters like that, but basically, if you want like ETH options, like call ETH options to August 30th, it would be the same for many different protocols.
Yeah, I guess
that's one of Tolga's biggest irks, Marty. That's one of Tolga's biggest irks, the non-standardization of options across DeFi. He's like, it makes exactly as Gal was saying, it makes things really difficult when you're trying to buy on one, sell on another, or aggregate and allow people to buy chunks from different protocols, because not every protocol has the same standard that they're using for like what is an option.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know what an option is, or like they claim they're doing options, but they're not. But also, every maker has a different algo, has a different pricer. So there's also just like different pricing across the board. There's also different margin requirements, if it's inverse or linear, if it's coin margin or stable coin margins. Options are a different beast versus like perps of just click red, green, up, down, make money, right? You have all the Greeks to come into play. You have different pricing. You have various spreads, different collateral and margin requirements across the board. It would be interesting to see you guys build out like you can ARB this right now. You could do Mobi and Lyra and, make that $2, after gas or whatever, right? That would be
it's actually something we're playing around with. We added like to our Discord like this channel that broadcast some arbitrage that we see between bid ask spreads that we see between protocols. I think there's a lot to take into account that we don't do for the user, but it just points out that the pricing is not perfect, especially on chain, especially in options, which is like the last stop, I guess. If you'd go to spot, then like futures, which is perps mainly in crypto, and then you would go to options. So options space is not like the on-chain ecosystem is not, I guess, fully arbed or MEV'd, or you don't have these players playing around on chain in the option space as much as you would have like for spot and for other markets.
Yeah, it's just a niche market, right? So there's anybody, if you go to a trading desk and you're like, okay, we want to market make spot or perps, like anybody can do this. But when you talk about managing a whole book and a whole portfolio, like there's not a lot of people that are good at this, right? Like compared to easy spot or perps market making. So, and the guys that are big and that are institutional mostly can't swim in the DeFi space either, right? They work for a large institution, they work for a bank. There's some compliance and regulatory stuff that doesn't allow them to come into the space, whether it's a friction of money, right? They don't have access to hot wallets, or they can't move the bank's money on chain, to just a simple understanding of, or simple to complex understanding of options, right? So it would be interesting to see you guys build out this project more. Are you guys doing on Arbitrum? Did you guys get any of the STIP rewards?
Not. We're launching the first, as I said, the first milestone of being able to do transaction. We'll do it firstly on Arbitrum, but we're not really. We don't want to stay on one chain. Basically, we want to spread out to wherever options protocol, deploy their own contract and have liquidity. I mean, if it's a serious enough liquidity. And no, we still didn't get any of the Arbitrum steep, but that's mainly because we didn't have the right structure yet. It's like something that's still in work in progress, and we didn't want to jump ahead. We wanted to build the infrastructure first, be certain at what we do and that we can deliver really serious framework. And I mean, dealing with other people's money, it's something that we're taking in a very highly concern. So we don't want to do any mistakes on that front.
Yeah. Cozy, maybe you can chime in here, but I feel like building on a specific protocol, on a specific chain, and getting the backing from that chain's foundation is kind of like a stepping stone in terms of funding, in terms of user incentives, trading incentives, however you want to look at it. But most of these guys stick with one chain, is my understanding, right?
I mean, it definitely is, like, it has its benefits, like finding a place you call home. But for like aggregation, like Grix was doing, I think it definitely would limit them if they were to just say, like, we're only going to do Arbitrum. Like, it 100% makes the most sense if you're going to, if your goal is, to provide users the best price for options, regardless of what inventory source it's coming from. Then, you want to abstract away the chain layer, and to the user, them just becoming to Grix to buy an option, right? Like, they shouldn't have to worry about the RPC that they're switching to, or like what network the option protocol has decided to use as an orchestration chain. For them, they should just be, buying the cheapest option, or buying and on Grix's end, doing the complex stuff, like they were talking about, possibly breaking up the way that the purchase is made, so that they're purchasing smaller options on each of the venues to make up the total inventory that they wanted to purchase, and things like that. For like solo protocols, I think like going multi-chain oftentimes leads to like a fragmentation of liquidity, unless you're focused on like network specific markets, because then, those markets wouldn't exist regardless on the other network that you're on. So you're going to pool kind of like global liquidity for that asset there. But for everything else, like, you kind of want to find like a home base or an orchestration chain. And now with everything that we have kind of available to us, you as the developer and the protocol can make it so that the user can be on any chain, or they can use assets from any chain, and all of the settlement and all the transactions are happening on whichever chain you're calling like your home base. So for us, like, that's Arbitrum. And in the future, we want to open it up to where it doesn't matter if a user calls their home Optimism, they can still trade on Premia without having to know the Arbitrum RPC or go and click any buttons in their wallet. And that's the end goal. It should just be the Premia app, just as like for Grix, you want it to just be like the Grix app. Like, you don't want people to come in and go, I have to click on Arbitrum, or, oh, I'm on my wallet's set to ETH, but I have to change it to Optimism to buy this option.
Bridge. What do you mean I have to bridge? I don't want to bridge. Yeah. Just friction of capital, right? When the end user, not maybe they know what they're doing, but it's just like, oh, there's an opportunity and you have to bridge, and it takes 20 minutes, or pay the fee, and it takes 60 seconds or whatever, but you lose $20. Like, it's just a friction of capital across the DeFi space that I hope we kind of, I don't know, mend together or grow together. I'm tired of these cults, but I know that there has to be like home base, and I know that certain foundations have to support their ecosystem for sure. But yeah, is there ever going to be like a super chain, or like where are we with this mega chain,
I think
super chain?
I think it's going to like be built by the apps, as Cozy said. Like, you would want users to come to your app and smoothen the experience as best as you could. That would mean that you would want to abstract whatever chain they're on, wherever their funds are. You would want to be able to take all these different parameters and just be able to settle it on your own home chain, or even like a different chain of your own. But I think that eventually it would going to take the devs of the app trying to master it, because it's going to create competition. Once one app has fully like made their apps fully smooth, everyone else will want to do the same, because it would be like a super app, not a super chain. I think that's where the game is going to go to. Like, you would want to make
super app.
Yeah, super apps, exactly.
Yeah, that was like one of the questions that I had wrote down. Was like the biggest challenges and opportunities that you see in the DeFi option space, and then how that compares to like traditional markets. I'm in this camp that we see like three different user bases. We see like super TradFi, US institutions that can only trade CME, spot ETFs, and options on the ETFs. And then we have another user that's CeFi, and then we have another user that's DeFi. So we have three different kind of camps. But if you are able to swim in all three different camps, or play in all the different camps, there's opportunities to arb, to hedge, to make money that, to us is a lot of money, but maybe to like a huge bank institution, that's like pennies, but still could be tens of millions of dollars, which is definitely significant. So like, what sort of challenges and opportunities do you see in the DeFi space that are coming? And I guess super app is going to be one of them.
Yes. So we just invented this name, super app. But yeah, well, basically, chain abstraction would be like the main goal. And basically being able to deliver an app that is as quick as you would have like on centralized venues, with the right tools. Even though your liquidity it might be in like order book, it might be like an AMM, it might be like an off-chain market maker that would just send in like orders, and you would be able to connect all these to one master app to be able to deliver your users the smoothest experience. So yeah, I guess it's part of the super app
We need to
title.
trademark that super app.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It,
like
it
those
sounds better.
Chinese super apps that have your whole life in it, right? We need that for DeFi. So if you're
Wow.
building that, we need that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
DK has been me and DK have been talking about this for a little while. It's just like the idea that like on a long enough time scale, it boils down to like whoever builds the nicest interface in which like people can that acts as like a gateway for everyone else, right? Because uh, the aggregators like win in the end. So like the interface that provides the aggregator of all aggregators, or the interface that has all of the aggregators in the most elegant way, will probably win out as the thing that people use the most, because it will provide them the best pricing. It will provide them the best user experience. They have to go nowhere else. They're not getting phished by clicking links. They're not, like a lot of the security concerns that, people have for users are eliminated if there's like a trusted interface in which people are
Like a
accessing
OFAC
data.
chain.
No, not OFAC chain. I mean, it's just like it's just like aggregating, providing access to the aggregators, which are already aggregating the apps that are providing all of the inventory sources. So like right now you have that with plenty of dexes, right? You have a bunch of aggregators. Grix is tackling aggregating and options. I think there was someone else who did an aggregator before, and they kind of like they stopped. They pivoted. I want to say. I think it was
Yeah, I think
Polynomial.
pivoted at the
I think it was
bottom.
Polynomial actually. They were working on an aggregator for options like way uh, long ago.
Back in my day.
Back in the day, and then they pivoted, and I think they're doing what, perps now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but either way, like this idea that people use aggregators for the best pricing experience or the best speed or whatever it may be, to have optionality of the best experience for that one specific thing. But it still leaves you as a user having like multiple tabs open. So like the super app is just like, the best interface to access all of these things that are aggregating and providing you the best prices for the services that you want. And I can't see why someone would choose to use something other than that when we get to a point where we're able to aggregate, because there's multiple liquid inventory sources for each of these types of products people want. I don't see why someone wouldn't use that versus having 10 tabs open, like why would I not want to go into
Some people like the struggle, dude. Some people are in the trenches,
some people
maxing
prefer
out
the
their
print.
RAM, 10 tabs. Yeah, you don't have to do that anymore, right? There was when I first got into DeFi options, I was just click trading shit, right? I was like click trading ARBs because it was just stale for, minutes at a time. Now we have some bots that scan and take some, especially on Premia. If somebody fires like a bad order, we'll take it, or if something's on whatever Lyra or whatever and it's totally wrong, we'll ARB that sex dex. We'll do that ARB. But a lot of people haven't gotten into the options arbing space, especially like the DeFi options arbing space. Like, how do we get more users? I guess it goes to both of you guys, but how do we get more users or more institutional users into DeFi? Is it like KYC kind of thing? You know that you don't know who your counterparty is, but you know that everybody's KYC'd and everybody can trade against each other.
I don't know. I don't know that. That's a question that
Do we need that?
we're often like looking to answer, right? Like for us, from the people we've talked to, it's capital efficiency, right? Like
Sure.
DeFi options aren't capital efficient; they're capital intensive, and that has been the biggest thing that comes up when talking to funds or institutions about like why they are not more active in DeFi options when they are active in doing different things in working with protocols in other ways. I haven't heard too much about worry of commingling of funds or KYC aspect of it, but I assume obviously when you get to the larger funds and bigger money that would be a concern of theirs. And on we talked about that like I don't know. I feel like maybe 2
On-chain
years ago
credit
or
score,
so.
dude. How do you get an on-chain credit score? It's like an
They have
episode
stuff
of
like
Black
that.
Mirror, dude. It's like
They have like on-chain reputation systems and stuff like that. And like, for OFAC related stuff, they have their own, like, not related to OFAC, but just like on a security or risk basis, there are risk models to rate and score addresses, so that you could do things like, rather than implement KYC, you can put in some service that would not allow addresses to interact with the protocol if they're above a certain risk score. So there's like a lot of like creative ways you can go about providing kind of a quote unquote safer experience when you're looking through the realm of like, whose funds am I dealing with. But I haven't heard the KYC thing come up. The biggest thing I've heard in discussions has just been like capital efficiency.
I wonder if you could have like an app or like an institution that provides some sort of services to these sophisticated actors that would abstract the KYC, because this institution or app would be KYC'd and it would take all the legal responsibility of the other source of funds. And I'm sure that if there's enough money to be made on the space, they would find the creative legal structures to be able to tap into DeFi options as well. But I tend to agree that right now the fragmentation of the liquidity is the main like obstacle right now for the big players to come in.
Yeah, options are liquid, and in DeFi, the collateralization issue. Well, it's not an issue, but it's an issue for capital efficiency. So there's the two factors I think that are the largest limiting factors of why there's not larger players.
We've had some interesting conversations though with some large desks. So a lot of these U.S. institutions or European institutions, they have a crypto arm, but even Brazilian institutions, like Brazilian banks, are doing basis trading on CME and Coinbase, right? So they buy spot and sell the future on CME. So
I see it as like the interest is there, but the appetite isn't there yet. Like they're interested and they're almost hungry for it, but I think until we've kind of, I don't think we necessarily need to solve the liquidity problem. That comes from solving the capital efficiency problem. Give them a way to trade more capitally efficient, and the liquidity will come with that.
Oh, sure. Yeah. If there's PM, if there's, perps options and spot all in one, but then you have this weird hybrid model too, where it's not, is it even DeFi if you're just talking to like an AWS server on the background? I guess we can throw that around the horn.
I mean, like, when you really get down to it, then like, is any of it really? I used to have this discussion with people before there was DeFi about like decentralization, because then back in those days, that was the larger discussion, like how decentralized is something. And like when you really drill into it, like, is any of it like really that decentralized? Because all of it is like being run by some private like ISP, or like you're running on AWS servers, or fucking like drop pods, and like whatever you're using, like a lot of it's like being run in a cloud. And it's like, if all that shit got shut down, like what happens? Like, where is it centralized to? There's one reason I was like pretty against the move to proof of stake. I just feel like, for like, if a whole network is taken down, there can be a single miner mining somewhere, and like, sure, like the network will have some difficulties as there's a difficulty adjustment, but like that miner could keep the network running. And it's like, I don't know, maybe more of an
ideological. If it goes dark ages, you can just turn it back on.
Definitely more of like
can turn it back on. Yeah.
An ideological discussion, the like proof of work, proof of stake thing. But like, I I don't know. My main point is, though, like, if you want to argue against decentralization and that things are centralized, you can always find an argument for why any of it is not decentralized, right? There's always some point of centralization. So, like, the point of all of this, I think, is like that things should be decentralized enough that a third party, or like if one nation like were to cut off access to internet or certain sites or certain utilities, that it wouldn't impact the network itself.
Well, Grand is our in-house fund admin. He says he's actually a fund
Who
admin.
insures big players? Grand, I think in the future you'll see insurance for these risk services. Like, I think there's a lot of money to be made there if you're able to like if
Credit
you have
default
years
swaps on chain.
if you have years of like data analysis and collection to be able to say, like, okay, with 99.9% certainty, like, we can score addresses based on this criteria associated to risk, that 100% there will be some like insurance protocol or company that comes out that says, like, we will insure that we will insure up to X amount of money that no commingling with OFAC sanctioned funds takes place. I
Like
feel
an
like
FDIC kind of insurance on chain, or
because I think this because, dude, I used to see the weird, like the most niche types of insurance for crypto. I remember seeing zero conf insurance. Like, there were companies that you could pay that would guarantee zero confirmation deposits and
on
settlements
exchanges.
for you with BTC, for on exchanges. So there were like a list of like centralized exchanges, and you could pay them, not the exchanges, you paid the service, and they would guarantee, as long as the funds being the address didn't breach, some specific like risk score that they had at the time. Much different than they are now. But the point being, this type of insurance and services existed. So I don't see why, as crypto only becomes, more of a capital like black hole, that different types of insurance products won't pop up for things like risk or risk analysis.
I guess that goes into the next little section, I guess. Gal, how do you guys make money? You guys do like when somebody uses your platform, that they use your ref link, or you guys do a profit share with the exchange? I'm super curious on how this works for you guys when things are scaling and users are here and money's flowing.
Yes. So basically, the general and the business plan is basically to take the routing fee, the execution fee, when we understand that we give enough value to our users. Because right now, I think comparing option price is something that any option trader, like DeFi option trader, would want to have. It's a nice tool. I think it can save you money actually whenever you want to hedge. Yeah, for sure. But we plan to take it so many steps further that the amount of value given to the user would be much more significant when you trade and you split transaction, on the same app. And as you said, you go a few steps further into this super app we just talked about. We plan to take fees from the transactions, from the from the actually, the initial thought that we just said, okay, it's a really cool thought, but we didn't give enough attention to right now because we're more focused on building, was to actually see how much we are able to save the user and take like a portion of that. So
Take the spread.
if I can, yeah, in the spread, exactly. So if I don't save you anything, you know, it doesn't make sense for me to take anything. But if I do, then I guess you would be happy to use my service and pay a certain amount, a certain part of that
Oh,
to
you
the
can
service.
clip like a BIP or two. I know some DeFi protocols that are doing like 6-bit fee, so it's like, oh, if you can save them. I know the regular end user doesn't care, but institutional guys definitely care, and fees are the killer of profit. So if anybody's listening and you don't care about fees, you probably should read the docs and figure out what your fees are. Um, and if you can clip a few bips, and then also if they use your referral every time they do a trade, that would be like a straight money printer, right?
Yeah,
You're double
yeah,
dipping on the ref link, which they don't know about, and you're saving them a few bips that you collect on, or if you make them cross the spread, there's that as well. Yeah, that could be a money printer for sure.
yeah. It really depends on the trader profile, and we would offer API service as well, so that would probably make more sense to institutional traders that would do much more volume, and it should and probably will take like another fee structure, like more suited to this kind of traders.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about the tech stack and the API. So what could I do with the API? You guys have an SDK that I can just plug right into, or
Not an SDK right away. Right now we only have the API. We just launched it actually, like I think a week ago. It basically can already quote the same thing that you have on our interface. You could quote basically all options that we're integrated to, like from all protocols we're integrated to. So you need to specify, the underlying, the date, like the expiration date and the strike you want, and you could actually crawl all of this and have your own order book just from our API. And producing transaction would be, I guess, we plan to launch it simultaneously on the app itself and on the API front as well. We're going to deploy a router, and it's going to do all the hard lifting for you. You just need to approve the right transaction for it to do.
is
Uh,
it is the API live yet? Could I plug into
yeah,
the API now?
Yeah, I think right now we're doing it like more in a beta mode, so you would probably need to fill out the form, and we'll get back to you. Depends on on the user itself, but for you, Marty, we're definitely going to open it. So love your feedback.
Yeah. And then can I trade right from the API, or it's just more like a streamed order book that I can see all the different pricing?
So right now the functionality is only for the data, so only for the quoting and the prices. But as soon as we are feeling good with our execution of transaction, we're going to launch it on the API as well as the interfaces, like on the same time.
Nice. And then is it like a containerized API, or what language do I need to speak to it?
Yeah, like normal containerized API, the same. We try to make it a standard and as easily as possible. So as similar as you would have to Deribit, I guess, API. We'll go from there. But I must say I didn't develop the API structure, so I can't commit
Oh
to
yeah.
anything right now.
Yeah, we could talk in chat or something. But yeah, that would be interesting to get
Sure.
an aggregator API data feed, and we could collect this, and that could be useful for sure. Definitely could be useful for our operation. Just the stream, right? Not even just the trading, but the stream itself.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go to their website, Marty, and click on API, I think it takes you to the Git.
Little GitHub takes you
Little
to
Git
the
love.
G Hub.
Little Git love.
Get your blood flowing. Yeah.
Yeah, GitLab. And then oh man. And then for tokenomics, you guys are doing a point system. Are you guys you want to show some alpha in terms of you guys are doing token?
We're going to do points campaign pretty soon. Not not specifying anything yet because it's still a work in progress as the rest of it is. But basically, yeah, we want to put ourselves out there and promote Grix and bring new users to know us. And the first users should be treated more fairly, I guess, than after the protocol is already one of the big ones. So I guess when you're small, you appreciate every user that comes in. You want to to incentivize them to come in and to use and to give you, feedback so you can build better and iterate on your product and deliver better value.
Plan trusters will be rewarded, is what he's saying.
Exactly.
Yeah. Dude, I'm going to need a Grix Patagonia, dude. I'm going to need one of those vests, I'm going to need some merch.
By the way, guys, if you're coming to Token 2049 in Singapore, would love to meet and
I don't leave my house, dude. I rarely leave my house.
I think DK might be going to Token. I know I'm not going to go there. I've been keeping it local on my main island for this year just because of the baby. But there was one that's coming up at the end of the year that I might check out. That's overseas. I'm trying to think which one it was.
I think you should go back to Brussels.
I can't see more than like a month forward, so we'll need to schedule for another event.
Yeah.
Oh, I live all in one day at a time, so I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow. So, so I'm with you there. Oh man. In terms of other incentives, are you guys interested in doing any other, like, let's say, Arbitrum Foundation STIP stuff, or any sort of different proposals, or like, how do you guys incentivize bringing new users in? Like, what's the elevator pitch?
So yeah, we have like an open talk with the Arbitrum Foundation and On-Chain Labs, and we're going to to work with them to incentivize our users as well, and also by partnering with the option protocols themselves, we have some thoughts of how to do this together with the protocols and the makers themselves to be able to incentivize using Grix and moving the orders towards this market. Like basically, the main goal is to take. I think it was one of the Premia guys that told me this, and I just adopted it. But the option space, the crypto option space, is really, really big. But the problem for us protocols is that all of the money is basically on Deribit. Okay, like centralized, but mainly Deribit. So the more we can, withdraw funds from the centralized exchanges to us on chain, everyone will benefit from it. And I think that's what we want to incentivize. So we want to work together with all the other protocols and be able to incentivize users to use on-chain and DeFi options and not only the centralized exchanges.
Yeah, me and I think his name is pronounced Heiko. He's from he was at Strike. We used to say that on a lot of the streams we would do, because in the early days of Premia, our communities used to try to like pit us against each other, and that was kind of our view. Like, we're not trying to fight or like be like necessarily viewed as competitors with the other option protocols in the space. Like, none of us are liquid. Like, the option space isn't liquid yet. Let's worry about stealing liquidity from the CeFi markets, and then let's fight with each other after there's money to fight over. But like right now, let's get the money over here.
Yeah, totally.
You even see this in the CeFi guys. They're all doing incentives. They're all competing to take market share from Deribit. Deribit does like, I don't know, $1 to $4 billion a day. The next runner-up does like a couple $100 million a day. So even in the CeFi space, they're trying to steal market share for sure. So I think we go back to that. There's three kind of camps. There's CeFi, DeFi, and then you have like the full regulated US or global institutions that can't swim in the other pools. And we can probably get more crypto native funds over into DeFi, trading outside of whatever, Deribit, Bybit, Finance, wherever they are, and bringing them into DeFi, then we can getting like larger US institutions. I don't think you want to compete with those large institutions today anyways. I think that it puts a dampener on the market, and crypto eventually will just be another low vol product. This vol is meant to be sold.
Stop it.
Vol is meant to be sold, dude. Once there's options,
I agree with that part. Like, I don't want to think of it as a low vol product. It's like, what am I going to go do then?
No, it's not a 100 vol product anymore. Even now, it's not Bitcoin's not a 100 vol product. It's like a 50, 60 vol product. Okay. We get these, crazy spikes when there's abnormal news or I don't know, some hype around Trump speaking at a conference. Like we're still in like baby steps. We still get overly excited for not much, right? But you guys wanted the institutions to come. Now they're coming. So that's what's going to happen. So once we get options on these um, spot ETFs, it will slowly become a lower vol product, but we'll have a few shots to blow out the big funds, blow them out of the water with a huge vol spike, that they're not used to seeing. But yeah, it will become a lower vol product. Not a 20 vol product, but definitely 30s or 40s.
Yeah, but then you can tokenize the next 100 vol product out there and keep your Degen vol trading
Options on
on, I
Bonk.
guess.
Options on
Yeah,
Bonk.
exactly.
500 vol was the last options on Bonk. I got quoted 500 vol when Bonk was going crazy. So
Wow.
altcoin vol is a whole nother beast that I don't even think has opened up. Like, it's usually 100 to at some point they just throw a fucking dart at the wall, right? It's 100 vol, 150, 200, 250. They just make it up at some point. You probably
I don't
could
even
arb.
understand if the math works at that that frame of.
I mean, that was the problem with our
volatility.
V1, right? Like we allowed it to be fully customizable, and it was like all the top DeFi tokens at the time, and you could your expiration could be up to a year out. You could put any strike price you wanted, and you set your own premium. So you had people that don't know anything about options setting their own premiums, and it was a very inefficient. It was a very inefficient order book that you had.
Yeah, so fucking altcoin vol. You probably could arb out different OTC desks in altcoin vol because all of them have a different price at all different times of day. You probably could go 10, 20 vol wide arb across different OTC desks. That the trade would never cross the tape. You wouldn't even see this like publicly.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't have like a lot of liquidity inside these trades, I guess. So you would sweep some some bucks, I guess. But yeah, you understand what I mean. Like you would like crypto guys and traders would always have the next thing to rush into, to trade, to gamble, I would say.
Horse
And
racing.
you can always tokenize it.
Horse racing. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the space is still in like its early years, right? Like I don't think we're definitely early when we look back, 10, 20 years from now. We're like, Jesus Christ, we were doing options aggregators when we could be doing, whatever else, yeah, we're doing DeFi options. Why were we doing that when we can do, altcoin options or whatever it was, right? Like whatever it's going to be. The space always migrates. You always have both sides of the spectrum. And then, smart money, dumb money, institutional, retail, PvP for sure. And yeah, the space evolves and the space grows. And the more users we have, the better. Some people have to lose money for others to make money, but that's the game that we play.
Yeah.
Let me see if we have any questions. We got that was already like an hour, 50 minutes or something. Wow. Let me see if we got any questions on Twitter. It's just Grand. We got our fund admin, Grand. He's always talking about institutional risks, and he was saying that the institutions are not able to transfer risk to a third party. They can't transfer risk, or there's no legal recourse. There's nobody to sue. That makes sense, right? Like it would have to be like a specific ecosystem or like a sub chain that KYC institutions could trade against each other. Maybe you don't know exactly who it is, but you know that all these parties are legit and that you could trade against them. It could. Yeah, that's another conversation worth having. Cozy, any questions? Any final remarks?
I don't see any. I'm checking our Discord too. See if any of the
we rarely get live questions, But how many viewers do we get? 1,000?
Let's see this one today.
1,042.
Boom. Yep. Yeah, over 1K. Not a bad Wednesday.
A little small piece.
Yeah, if no questions, we'll wrap things up. Gal, you wanna close on anything about Grix? You got any updates coming or releases you wanna shout out before we wrap it up?
I think we covered everything. We're going to, keep building, keep delivering, and the app you're seeing right now. We really hope to get better and add more features and more functionality each week that goes by. We're taking it. I wouldn't say slow, but we were taking it, sure, and making sure everything is in check before we're going to use users' funds. And it was really fun being here. Would love to chat or meet anyone that goes to. We're going to be on Token 2049 in Singapore. So if you guys, anyone wants to check us out there, just ping me in Twitter or Telegram, whatever you want.
Yeah, I have his
your
at
Telegram chat. Yeah.
I have his at in the stream link, but it's at Gal DeFi, at Grix Finance for the protocol. And then, yeah, feel free if you want to drop like your Telegram or something, if you have like an options chat or something.
Comment below.
Yep, drop it below. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We will be back on Friday, me and Marty, for our Eden stream. If we don't see you then, have a great weekend. Gal?
Thank you, Gal.
Thank you very much, guys.
Week. Later.